This is the Angry Birds Bird Minute, sponsored by Angry Birds for their 15th anniversary, where we tell you all about a cool bird that may or may not be angry. This week's bird is the bee hummingbird. The bee hummingbird is the world's smallest bird. Found only in Cuba, this petite pollinator only averages about 5.5 centimeters long and weighs barely more than 2 grams. Their nests are only an inch wide and their eggs are the size of a coffee bean. They get their name from their small size, which results in them often being mistaken for bees, and the sound their tiny wings make as they beat between 80 and 200 times a second. Like many other hummingbirds, the majority of the bee hummingbird's diet consists of nectar that it sips from flowers with its skinny beak and long tongue, though it will also nab small insects or spiders too. But are they angry? On a scale of 1 to angry, we rate the bee hummingbird as tiny but mighty.
This is Wild Green Streams. I'm Rhett, and we are doing the 10 Days of Meme-mas, in which we tell you all the secret lore of the Wild Green Memes group. Today's question comes from Cassia, Emily, and Gator, who all ask, how did Wild Green Memes originate? Well, I actually started Wild Green Memes back in 2017. I was finishing up undergrad. I wanted a place to hang out with all my wildlife nerd friends who were also graduating and kind of moving away across the country and the world. Wildlife ecologists, especially in their 20s, wind up going pretty far and wide for fieldwork jobs. So I started this group. It was inspired by another meme group, actually, that was UF specific. And at the time, there were a lot of meme groups that had their names made around a certain convention. This meme group was called Swampy UF Memes for Top 10 Public Teens, which to us, with around 40,000 members, seemed like this enormous media outlet at the time. It was this crazy thing. We could have never imagined that Wild Green Memes would ever get that big, or at least I couldn't anyway. It was really just a place for me and my friends to hang out and to keep track of each other and share some jokes. This carried on for around a year or so. And the meme group, it grew steadily. We had, I added around 100 people to begin with. I had a pretty big group of friends in college. It was kind of everyone who had been to parties around my house or who had been in the same classes as me, all those kind of people. But then it kept growing. And we would do, I kind of imagined that it followed a similar pattern to what I think Facebook itself followed about 15 years earlier, when it started jumping between universities, but at a much smaller scale. And instead of jumping between just any university, it would jump between wildlife programs. So after a while, we kind of grew and grew and grew in Gainesville. And then we still only had a few hundred people in the group at this point. But I noticed that we suddenly had an uptick in members asking to get into the group. And I looked and they were all coming from Cornell, or it would happen again and they would all be coming from Texas A&M University. These are, within the United States, pretty much strongholds of wildlife ecology and natural resource conservation university programs. So it would jump around the country and grow based on these programs, and students would join it. This kind of continued until really it got a little over a year later, when something happened that really changed the way the group was and how we thought about it, and it put it on the track to becoming what it is today. Really, it had this one formative moment that led to a lot of how the group wound up turning out, and that was the moth meme trend. So what I thought was the funniest thing ever, for a little while, the whole internet in 2018 was filled with memes of this one picture of a moth. The moth was, you've seen this picture. The moth is totally, it looks like Evil Patrick. It's just this very ghastly looking moth up close. It's got a light shining in its eyes, so its eyes are like red colored like lasers. Actually, a few episodes ago, the episode called We Know Why Bugs Fly to Lights Now. If you go back and look at the thumbnail on that, the moth in that episode episode is the moth from this meme. And that meme trended around the whole internet for a little while. There was actually another meme page that was just dedicated to moth memes that grew to like tens of thousands of members in just a few weeks. It was crazy. The whole joke was basically pictures of this moth or similar moths, and it would say just a comment about how they like lights. Like it would literally be captioned, "I love lamp." Or there was a comic strip that someone made. I don't know if they made it in response to this trend or if it just got popular because of the trend, but they made this comic strip where someone was on an old-timey sailing boat and the first mate says, "Captain, we're heading straight for the shore." And the captain doesn't say anything. You just see this dark silhouette and they say, "But sir, the lighthouse is right there." And the captain turns around and the captain is a moth and he says, "Hell yeah." So anyway, these memes, I thought they were really funny. A lot of people shared them around the internet, and we decided that we were going to pull a prank on the members in this group. There had never really been a meme trend in the group. It was really still just me and my friends making jokes to each other, mostly inside jokes, not even stuff that the wider world would totally understand. And we decided that we were going to pull a prank. The prank we were going to pull is that we would only allow moth memes into the group for some interminable period of time and wait until it seemed like people would notice. So we did that for a day and no one really noticed. And we did that for 2 days. And some people started kind of looking at the walls, and we did it for 3 days. And then people really started commenting and saying, "Hey, what's up? What's up with all these moth memes?" So then we had to escalate because we had been caught. So we thought, okay, what can we do next? And I decided that I was going to make it look as though my brain had been taken over by moths, as though there were moths that were just pulling the strings. So while people were speculating on whether or not the group was deliberately only including moth memes, I went and I changed the cover photo to be a picture of a lamp turned on. And we did a number of other things. We had me post explicitly saying, "I certainly have not been taken over by moths. I am certainly in control of my actions. Please do not help me. I do not need help." Things like that. And we kept going with this for a day or two. And people thought that was funny. They added a lot of memes to it. It kind of trended onto itself. This became the first really collaborative meme trend in the group. But after a couple days, people got tired of it. People wanted something else. They said too many moth memes. So we did something else at the end of this that I think really became the final step that capped off the technique that led to the way that we still promote meme trends today, which is that we said, okay, we've started the trend. We've been caught. We've escalated. People understand the escalation and they think it's funny, but it's going to get stale. So the last thing we can do is end it with another joke. And to do that, we said, what can you do that's ecologically friendly if you have too many of a pest species? Biological controls. So we went to the group and we said, there is an overpopulation of moths in this group. And the way that you can help, you're the only one who can help. And what you can do is you can make memes that control predators of moths. So people made memes about bats, and they made memes about birds, and they made memes about lizards, and they made it all along the theme of this animal is eating the moths and they're going to rid us of the moth infestation. And then after another day of that, we posted a victory post and said, "Congratulations, the moth memes are now down to healthy levels. Good job." And then to really end it, we posted a new cover photo with the lamp turned off. So when we did this, we really didn't understand the dynamics of Facebook or of memes or of these social media groups or anything. We were just having fun. But it wound up boosting the group. I think that a lot of people actually saw shares out of the group from this, or maybe they were just telling their friends that this weird thing was happening because we were still growing mostly through immediate social networks, people within 1 or 2 connections from me, mostly in university programs similar to the one that I had just graduated from. And they started joining. And we just got on this exponential trend up and out from there that has never really stopped. We doubled all the time for a long time. We gained, hundreds of thousands of of members over just a short period of time after that. The first year that we had started the group, by the end of that year, we had about 1,000 people. So this is the beginning of 2018. By the time the moth meme trend came around, if I remember correctly, we really didn't have that many more than 1,000 people. But by the end of the year, by the end of the moth meme trend, we had seen a huge uptick in membership. And then by the end of the charity battle, which came after, we had just seen this exponential growth so that we had almost 10,000 people in the group. It grew by almost 10 times in just a couple months. And it kept going from there. And here we are. So Cassia, Emily, and Gator, I hope that answers your question. And I also hope that you go to our Patreon at patreon.com/wildgreenmemes. That's memes with an M. If you join at the possum or shark level, you get cool merch, which if you do it by December 31st this year, you'll get your own Elf on a Shelf sticker sheet with stackable, rhymable animals. Let's see, the rest of the post-roll credits. Our theme music is by the band RX Fire. This podcast is edited by me. And until next time, I'm Rhett, and happy Year of the Raccoon. Tune in tomorrow for episode 2 of the 10 Days of Meme-Miss, in which we tell you all about the secret history of the charity battle, which is not really that secret. There's more of a secret history of the Toucan Wars, but that'll come later.